What do you know about this?
We outside. Happy New Year. Welcome to the We Was Watching
Happy New
podcast.
Year.
I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm your other host, Chanel. This is evil Brandon, by the way, because he cut off his beard and he cut off the chin strap, and now he just has a goatee, and he thinks I didn't notice.
I don't know
And
what
I
you're
think it
talking
makes him
about.
look diabolical. I tell me he doesn't look like every black cartoon villain.
Chanel, did you know what that intro clip was from?
Don't stop disrespecting me. Don't start the year off like this.
Did you
Do
know?
you know what it's like? You're in Baltimore. I don't know. I didn't know
I
that they
played the clip.
had.
Obviously, I know where it's from. Do
I
you
didn't
know
know
where it's
they
from?
had Instagram there. It is from the very wonderful New York Versus, which was Dipset versus the Locks, and that is Jada or Jay to the Moi, who was quoted by America's Mayor Zohran Mamdani, and he quoted his government name in his inauguration speech, which no one knew. He called him Jason, and he said, "We outside." And I think that what's so apropos about that is like the whole point of that moment was him saying, "I don't care what, Cameron might live in Jersey, and fucking
Vegas,
Jewels might live in who knows, but I
Colorado.
live in New York. I live in New York." And so he had his moment, and then the biggest reveal of all, he took his hat off and he had hair. That's the biggest moment of the verses. So yes, we respect to New York. I was raised in an era before Southern rap,
No, you
before
weren't.
the Southern rap resurgence, and so
No,
there
you
was
weren't.
just a time when New York rap. Oh
No,
my
you were
God,
not.
New York
What are you
rap was
talking about?
dominating.
No, you were not. Why are you lying to the
Okay,
people?
I wasn't there when 50 Cent and Terror Squad and Ja
That
Rule had their
the South
moments.
had already started winning then,
No,
because Cash Money
okay.
had
They
already
had,
started,
but
and
I'm
Outkast,
okay.
and No
I'm
Limit.
thinking about it. But that no, those are two different eras. Those are sub eras. No Limit and all that. There's a line you could drive through that, and then there's early 2000s. So like I give you late 90s, but early 2000s, New York took back over, and then the South came back with like something a different sound. That's what happened. So I remember TRL, and it was Ja Rule and 50 and all that, and then it made way in some ways for our music because Northeast
Southern
East Coast music
Hospitality came
sounds
out in
very
2000.
similar, right? You're agreeing with me because I'm talking about the when did Get Rich or Die Trying come out?
After that,
And that's what I'm saying. There was a dip for the South. New York took over. I remember those moments. Mims was big, and then they came back. I'm just saying, if I didn't hear "Lean Back" a million trillion times on the radio, I'm
listen.
dying right now.
No,
Like
no.
I'm just telling
Put a
you.
pause on this because we'll get to this and what we've
Mm-hmm.
been on. It's been a while, so if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or
It's been a
Spotify, leave us a
minute.
review. If it's 5 stars, we'll read it on the show. We actually got 2 5-star reviews while we over the break. Chanel, would you like to
Thank you
read those
guys.
reviews?
Only if you have the drop.
I mean, we got banned for that one. That's the one I don't want to play.
You don't have the. You don't. Can you? Do you not have my voice note?
Oh yeah, I do have it. Hold on.
Do you really? Oh, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples. I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Is that you? Oh no, hold on. I remember. No, the listener said they liked the other sound drop for 5 stars. Hold on.
You heard that bump like a motherfucker, man.
There you go.
Okay, for anyone who's just not listening, I sent Brandon a voice note of me mimicking the very much canceled and needs to leave the country Nicki Minaj, and I'll do it for y'all now because I really do believe that if they heard it, they would understand why I want it so bad. I just want him to literally clip, "Ask Lil Wayne who the 5-star bitch is." That's
Nope.
all I want.
Nope.
And he refuses to do it. So anyway, I
I
did it
won't
myself.
play anybody that went to Turning Point USA.
I won't. I see. Here's what he's missing. I don't want her. I want me doing it.
No,
I want
it's the same
me
difference.
mimicking it. It's not because I'm not her. Okay. Let's see. We got good news. I think that FC gave us a star back. If she hadn't, I don't know if she gave us 4 stars before and then went back to 5. Thank you so much. But we did get 2 new ones over the holiday break. Merry Christmas and Joyous Kwanzaa to us. The first one is from J Fry B KITCV. New listener, big fan. Hey, Brandon and Chanel, I started listening to you guys during Pluribus. I listen to multiple podcasts on all my favorite shows, facts, for the diversity of commentaries that you can get from different perspectives. Understood. You're the only people who summarize the theme in episode 7 as loneliness versus solitude. Okay, I guess I was Brandon because I don't know. I don't think
That's
I said
right. That's right. Because I watched the shows.
That and the fact that you're the only people who bother to pronounce Diabante spelling, I don't even know what country he's from, name, demonstrates how highly intelligent you both are. Also, the fact that we're Black. I think when you're Black, you just become sensitive to certain things. So it's like, we won't even get into all that. So now I'm going back into your old content. Thanks in advance. I really enjoy your synopsis and comments on Sinners and/or season 2 and White Lotus season 3. Oh, also I've been learning sign language, so yes. My one small request is that you level out your discussion volume and the intro music volume because it hurts my ears in the car. I have to crank up the volume and hear you talk and then lower it real fast when the music starts. Love you guys, Danita. Danita, that's real. Brandon, fix it.
I fixed it.
Fix it right now. Okay. And then thank you so much for that. I'm just joking. And then right after that, again, to celebrate Kwanzaa, Rick Wilkerson Music said, we in here, 5 stars, supporting y'all on every platform I can. Thank you, Rick. I first commented on Pluribus season 1, episode 7, but I got to make sure to help the algorithm in every space you need. Appreciate that so much. Much continued success to y'all and keep the content coming for us Black folks that love sci-fi, period. You know, we in here. This is a podcast for blurs and baddies alike who love sci-fi, comedy, drama, film, all the other shit, video games turned into movies. While I have you guys real quick, wanted to shout out to Open Minded 5321 who commented #Pitboy on our first Fallout recap and also said RIP Daniel on our Welcome to Derry season recap. Go back and watch that if you want to hear our thoughts on Pennywise. That's true because we did not give Daniel his moment. And then there were some
for those of you who are listening who didn't listen to that is when Chanel said the racist thing that it's pro-Black to kill children. That's what she said on that show.
Please go listen to it.
Go listen to
Brandon thinks it's funny to say things that would be problematic for my employer. He thinks that is so funny. So please go listen for your own context. Okay. Real quick before we finish up, just want to say since we finished Pluribus, thank you to everybody who commented, including Tony Freeman, who said, thanks for saying out loud that nobody wants to call Pluribus a slave virus. And also to Monsoon 9551, love the finale for Pluribus. Season 1 was great because since this is Vince Gilligan, Pluribus felt more like Better Call Saul than Breaking Bad. More reason why I enjoyed this than Breaking Bad, including the finale. Looking forward to who joins the resistance of saving the world in season 2 with deception and omission. The Hive is never to be trusted. Opening scene was evidence enough. Gave the season 9.2 out of 10. Also another comment from Rick Wilkerson. Appreciate y'all indulging fun. I like when people do that because I just be like, it was good. Subscribe. Appreciate y'all intelligent fun. Always love the drops. Y'all are the homies. Keep it up. Thank you, Rick Wilkerson. And then also Open Minded here said you win, which is a reference to the back and forth that they had in that season finale. And one last comment to Brandon's favorite show that he's so glad we recapped and he thinks about all the time and thanks me all the time that we made us do this. Julian said, you guys got me watching Chair Company. It's hilarious. I love this episode because Brandon was revealed as an Elizabeth Warren voter. Respect. And then called Chanel a Bernie bro. I love your repartee. Great.
That is a pejorative. I appreciate that. I'm glad you remember.
One of our better episodes. I'm glad you remembered that. That's one of our better episodes. We got into a tangent. We actually talked about who we voted for in the primaries. Woo, we have some good chats on this talk for those who say we talk too much about other stuff and does. So what? So anyway, welcome to 2026, y'all. We are here. And if you guys have thoughts, this is my new official studio area background. So if you have thoughts about what you want to see here, let me know. Because right now it's just like a blank wall with some of my little tchotchkes. So 2026, we're here. It's a brand new season of We Was Watching, and we are so excited for the shows that are coming up in just 2 weeks.
Speaking of that, we usually do what we've been on at the end, but because it's been a little bit of a break, we'll do it before the recap just for this episode and get back to our normal cadence afterwards. I'm gonna go first. So Chanel, you know what I watched? I watched the first season of this show on Netflix called Hip Hop Evolution. You ever watched that? So it's this dude who's like documenting the history of hip hop. It's 4 seasons. I watched the first season, and the first season covers.
What's his name?
What's whose name?
The guy doing the recapping.
Oh, the guy that's documenting the hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
His name is like Juno. His name is Shad something. But the first season starts with the origin of hip hop. So back in the early 70s in New York, in the South Bronx, and how the parties and everything turned into hip hop. And then it goes into one of my favorite people, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five, and how they became like one of the first touring hip hop groups. And then it moved into the mid 80s where, Russell Simmons came in, and you got Run DMC and LL Cool J and all those people. And then the end of the first season ended at the end of the 80s with the birth of gangster rap, with like Ice-T and NWA and how that whole thing began. By the way, Ice-T said that he was inspired by this dude in Philly. I forget what the dude's name was. It's somebody you probably never heard of. And the guy, Shad, went to Philly and found the dude. And the dude only agreed to talk to him if he got him a cake from a bakery, from a specific bakery. And he got it for him. And then he sat down and talked to him. And they had like all these.
Don't tell me he walked to Juniors.
He walked to Juniors. That's right. By the way, did you know that they walked to Juniors on making the band because they were getting that cake for Beyonce?
Were they really?
Beyonce and Jay-Z were there, and she wanted some cake.
They didn't say that in the documentary.
And she wanted some cake. And so that's why Diddy told them to go get the cake for Beyonce. But by the time they got back, she left. She didn't get the cake. That's what happened. But so I'm watching Hip Hop Evolution, and I love documentaries on hip hop, mostly because I usually stop at like the mid 90s. But I find the late 70s and early 80s portion of hip hop just so fascinating, of just like how everything happened. So like the Sugar Hill Gang, right? Them niggas was taking people's lyrics. It was other rappers in the city, and this woman was like, "Hey, I need a big hit." And she heard this guy rapping, and she was like, "You got some friends?" And he just brought his friends, and his friends stole a rap from Grandmaster Caz that he heard at a party, word for word, and that was the verse in the Sugar Hill in Rapper's Delight. Stole that shit.
That's
they had
insane.
Grandmaster Caz on there talking about it, and they had the guy from the Sugar Hill Gang, Wonder Mike. He was like, "Yeah, he stole that shit from Grandmaster Caz." And Grandmaster Caz is like, "Dog, you could have just had me come up there. I don't even know why you didn't do that."
So side note, I've never heard of Sugar Hill Gang being referred to as niggas. Like that feels like such a contemporary word. Like I would never call somebody who was alive in the 70s a nigga. I don't know why. I just feel like we earned like nigga started in the 90s.
I can tell you.
I know it's not true.
I can tell you ain't watched blaxploitation movies.
I know, but that was a nigga. That you had to be holding a gun and be wearing leather when you said it then. But now, just I feel like anybody can get it. But it's so funny to think of like, I guess you're right. Like they were the OG. They're the original niggas. It's just so funny to have it to refer to them as that. Can I tell you my little bit of hip hop history knowledge?
What is it?
There is this is gonna piss me off. Why can't I find? Okay, there's a book I want to recommend on history of hip hop because I took this class in college about it, and I'm just getting pissed off because I'm not able to find the book. What is this? It's not Beats Rhyme Life. I know that's the Michael Rappaport thing. So I'm trying to figure out what this book is called,
I'm
and it's
definitely
making
not
me
reading
mad
the
because
Michael Rappaport book.
no, that's not what it is. What? Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
Okay, while
Books
Chanel's looking there, I can finish my what we've been
by.
on.
You
So,
can.
by the way, I knew a lot of this history already because I watched like every hip hop documentary from that time period, like that's ever been made, because I'm just so fascinated by that time period. But the unique thing about this one is this dude got everyone important from that time period to sit down and talk to him. Now this was
Oh, I got it.
was recorded before all the stuff with Russell Simmons and Africa Bambaataa came out. So, but he got to talk to them. They came and sat down and talked to him. DMC was there. Run was there. Ice-T sat down and talked to him. LL Cool J was there. Big Daddy Kane was interviewed, like literally sitting down and talking to him, live interviews, not like footage that they found. Grandmaster Flash, like everybody, Big Hurt, like all of them. All the important people from that era was like literally sat down and talked to him for this documentary, which is really cool to get there. Chuck D, they really get their insight on like what was happening. Ice Cube, Yella was there, like all of them. They just was like, yeah, we'll talk to you, and they were talking to him about it, and we got to get their insight. It was really cool. I'm looking forward to season 2, which I'm going to probably watch this weekend. Season 2, by the way, if anybody wants to watch it, the first episode of season 2 is called The Southern Way. And it talks about, it's basically about Miami and Houston, the Ghetto Boys and 2 Live crew, like coming up, and this, how Southern rap started coming up. And then episode 2 is Out the Bay, which is like Too Short, MC Hammer, Digital Underground, those people, the Lunas. And then episode 3 is Due to Knowledge, which is like, you know, conscious rappers, KRS-One, Common, Quest, De La Soul, those types of people. And then episode 4 is New York State of Mind, which is basically like the new wave of New York rappers, Nas, Wu-Tang, Biggie, those people coming along. So I love how they're flowing through the history of hip hop. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word where it's like in order? Chronologically through history, which is, I just love hip hop documentaries. So if anybody has any recommendations or have watched the documentary from about 70s or 80s or early 90s hip hop, please send them to me in the comments or in the email, because I would love to watch that. What have you been on, Chanel?
Okay, apologies, because I thought I had the book up ready, and my brain was completely thinking of the wrong title. Before we tell you what I've been on, I just wanted to recommend a book called Thug Life, Race, Gender, and the Meaning of Hip Hop, and it's by Michael P. Jeffries, one of my previous professors who it goes through the history the same way. That's how I know about Boogie Down Productions and all the shit I know, because I took 2 classes on hip hop when I was in undergrad, because I was an American Studies double major, and I studied race and identity politics, and this mattered, and also studied like race and stand-up comedy. All that to say that that's interesting that you go through that and you saw the documentary, because I also have like read books about the history of hip-hop, history of Black comedy, and I think it's all very interesting. So highly recommend you guys check that out. And I feel like academic books don't get the desire, like basically academic books get read if they become really popular for some, like if a professor becomes really popular as like a Black PhD on a talk show, or if you take the class and they force you to buy their book. So just wanted to shout out Professor Jeffries. He's the man. Okay. And I have been on, damn, what day is it? It's okay. So it's New Year's. I went to the movies. I went to the movies recently to see, I haven't seen Avatar. I haven't seen Anaconda. Oh, I went to Street Stranger Things. I was
Well,
like,
no, you can't talk about that. It hasn't been long enough for you to spoil
I'm
that.
not going to spoil anything. I don't spoil stuff. I don't come in here and spoil stuff.
Since when?
Since I know. It has been long. Actually, I'm actually going to tell you this right now. It has been long enough, because that shit came out on 12/31 at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it is now past that time on January 2nd, and everybody knows that I have not. It's been a long time since I've seen something online this feverishly. Like, as a fan from day one, I knew I had to get. I was off the line from 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve to New Year's Day when I saw the movie because I knew that I was going to get spoilers immediately. So I think it's like this is one of those things where it's on streaming. It's a 2-hour thing. It's no like 8-episode buildup. Just go watch it if you haven't watched it yet. So I actually think this is one of the few times when spoilers are warranted and okay. But all I'm gonna say is what I've been saying since I've been rewatching it on these last few episodes. This was a cultural moment, and if you missed it, I feel really bad. Like this was what my friend brought up Twilight, and I was like, it was not as big as Twilight. It was bigger than Twilight for me. It's what I feel like people had to. It's to an extent. It's like Harry Potter in a way, and it's also what I feel like is similar to what it felt like watching the first Star Wars. And what I mean is like it's such an important moment. We got to see it from start to finish. Very few things do we see a cast evolve in that way. It's like I can't think of another show. Like it's like because even characters change out in Roseanne or whatever. But it's like when you start a show and someone's a kid and then you get to watch them grow up throughout it. It's like Full House, I guess, almost episode 1 to the end, but like even bigger. And so I really appreciated being a part of that moment and seeing it from when they were kids to now and then being like grown adults. I have one note about the finale, and that's that we didn't get an end credit to see my boy go after my girl, and that's all I'll say. And that is a spoiler, but you know what I mean. Like that's a very no context spoiler. I'm still not convinced about never mind, I'm not gonna say it because that's controversial. I still Dusty is my child. He graduated valedictorian and he gave the principal something talking to. That's my boy. I love my son. The way his mom was crying, I was like, that's how I'm gonna cry when my son graduates high school. And they did what they need to give. And I love I think what Stranger Things has revealed, Brandon, I don't know how much I'm sure you just scroll past it, but it just shows that we're in a moment right now where like TV and stuff like this is really reflecting people's mental state, because the amount of like critique and negativity around this was really insane. The amount of people who started watching last minute, so didn't see the evolution and didn't like understand kind of like the time and the breathing between seasons where you could really take it in. The amount of people who said they didn't believe that 2:15 was enough runtime to wrap it up. Like the amount of people who want to see a character die because they felt like, oh, this is gonna make things feel some kind of way. Like that to me is like mental illness seeping into your TV watching. And that's okay because we're living in mentally ill time. But I just say all that to say that if you were day one and you saw them little kids, you saw from day one where Lucas couldn't stand Elle and said she was a weird girl and need to get out that basement, to the end where Lucas said, I believe, and all the things in between. Yeah, like you get it. This was a beautiful moment. So I'm genuinely grateful to have been alive to see this and see it in theaters. And we had like a collective experience. Like when people fell and we thought they might die, we all screamed. When people had got their powers, we cheered. Like as a family in that theater in Ann Arbor, we had our experience. And one cool thing I would share about this, Brandon, I don't know if you know this, is that there was something with the guild or whatever. So Netflix didn't make any money from putting it in theaters. The theaters made all the money, and so the ticket was also a concession voucher. So you did spend $20 on a ticket, but that literally you got that back in concession money. So I went and like everybody had snack, popcorn, drink, and I think it was a boon for the theaters. So I am not convinced about this Netflix. I do think we're getting towards monopoly and some other issues like broadcasting and too many white men owning media, but like too few white people owning the media that everybody in the world sees and hears. But I'm going to tell you something that's going to make me seem like I'm not a radical. When we were in the theater, they did a preview for the Peaky Blinders movie. And I said, God damn, Netflix is doing something cool.
I don't know.
Not going to lie.
What is that? What's Peaky Blinders?
Sometimes the gap between us is so overwhelming that I don't care to even close it.
Prime TV show?
It is a Netflix original about the Shelby boys in old-timey London, and they're gangsters. They're Irish gangsters in London, some type of shit, and it's a classic Netflix show. And this, I should expect this from a man who didn't finish You yet, who found You in 2025 and left it behind in 2025. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into that. There's three. That's you don't know Peaky Blinders. You don't know Travis Scott, and you said somebody else. Oh, and you don't know who Zach Fox is. And every day I think, who am I podcasting with? Who is this man? Who is this old man?
I know who Travis Scott is now because he was on wrestling. I still don't know who Zach Fox is.
Anyway, that's what I'm on before I get pissed off, guys. I hope you enjoyed Stranger Things with me. And my next obsession, I think, is gonna be. I think I'm gonna try to go back and finish some shows I never finished. Like, I don't remember what happened in the later seasons of Arrested Development, so I've been going back through that. And I've been trying to watch. Oh, I finally watched Hereditary, creepy ass movie, and I need to do a 1-minute movie review of that. Let's see. That's pretty much it. I said a lot about Stranger Things, so we can get into it.
There's two more things. So on YouTube right now, there's two channels that are just streaming 24/7 that I've been watching. Not 24/7, but I've been watching a lot. There's one called WWE Vault, where they're just playing random matches and shows from the golden age of WWF, so 1985 to 92. It's just random matches of this, and it's so great to watch this cartoonish foolishness that I loved when I was a kid. So that is playing nonstop. And there's another channel on Hasbro that's just playing every episode of the Transformers cartoon, just nonstop on a loop for 24 hours. So for those of you who only know those terrible movies, please go watch the cartoon where it was actually good. That being said,
once upon a time in the projects, yo.
We're here to talk about episode 2 and 3 of Fallout. We'll probably go through 2 quicker to get to 3. But to know, what have you thought about Fallout season 3 so far? Season 2 so far?
It's fun.
Okay, it's fun. Episode 2, the Golden Rule.
You know, I'm here for the narrative. I can only give you so much up front. It's good. I like it. Walton is my boy, and Lucy's pissing me the fuck off. And we got our favorite. We got a Macaulay Culkin cameo.
Starts in Shady Sands, and we see young Maximus. And Shady Sands seemed lit back then. It was so nice. And his daddy is apparently...
Oh my God, it was the cutest little community. It was like a whole community.
I thought his daddy was an impossible white man, except his daddy died at the end. But he had a whole lot of impossible...
Smart.
He had a whole lot of impossible white man features.
No, he was a smart man. But see, Brandon finds it impossible that black men could be engineers. Brandon thinks Tuskegee is science fiction.
No, I'll explain why he's a possible white man.
Uh-huh.
He said, so
he did
this
have a
man,
moment.
His daddy, found out a way to make clean water out of the radiation water. And he tells his wife, we ain't gonna have to worry about no rations. We good. You can have a baby. And she's like, you can have a baby. And then we see one of them drone people for episode 1 come through the crib. And he talking about patrolling the Mojave makes you wish for a nuclear winter. He's just saying it on repeat over and over again. And so he walks through the town. And then later we see that dude passed out in the town. And somebody goes, we need a doctor. And this impossible white man shows up. Is like, doctor here. So, and then...
Oh, that's not well. Okay, then, pause before we get too far.
No.
What happens is, this is inaccurate. What happens is, they as a community had been developing some type of water. They had found water, and they happened to find water that wasn't contaminated. I don't think it might have been implied, but it wasn't clear that he's the one who decontaminated. We just happened to find that this dad was like kind of a leader of the community, and he had a radar, whatever the fuck, the radicals detector. He's detecting free radicals in water, and it was like, oh, 0. So you're right. He did say that, like, oh, we can have another baby. This is great. The way Brandon's building it up is like this one man is doing everything, which it felt that way, but it was just trying to show he was a big pillar of the community. And then they might have been calling for a doctor, but what happened is he's a leader and a proud black man.
He said, did someone call a doctor? I'm here. So he's the doctor.
No, he said Did someone call a doctor? Someone go call a doctor. Somebody call an ambulance, and then he started checking on him.
No,
in the
no,
moment.
that is not what happened.
We see it
You-
differently. We see it differently.
What do you mean you see
And he
different?
just
I
started checking
watched
on
this
him.
3 times. That was
Okay,
not
and
what
then
happened.
I watched it.
They called for a doctor, and
And
he said, "I'm the
said,
doctor."
somebody go find a doctor. I
No.
also happen to be here right now.
No, he said, "I'm the doctor." And
Okay,
then,
so then
and
he's
then,
like, "Oh, something ain't right."
and then he found the device in the back of his neck, and he looked at the back of the truck, and there's a nuke there. And then this impossible white man figured, "Oh, I know how to defuse a nuclear bomb." So let me get this straight.
Okay, then he
On
said,
the same
"Hey, I know
day,
basic."
the same day, the same man built a contraption to decontaminate radiated water. He's the town MD that fixes everybody that's down and sick. And he knows how to defuse a nuclear bomb reactor.
STEM is an acronym for a reason. He got some science in him. He got some engineering in him. He got some medicine in him. But I think here's what I will say though. It reminded me of that scene in Rush Hour when she's defusing the bomb. First of all, that's what it reminded me of, because I feel like it's just red wire, blue wire. It can't be that hard. He just was like, "Oh, which one looks like the one they plugged up last?" And he cut that wire. Okay. That's it. So he does go to defuse the bomb. Brandon's right. And that is what I said. Hold on. How did this man know how to do all this? And I figured, hey, you know what? Cut the red. What did they say? Cut the black wire. We saw it. Rush Hour made it very clear how to defuse a bomb. It's not as hard as we think it is. And it's 2076. So they've seen Rush Hour a bunch of times. So anyway, that's what happens. Brandon's right. And so, but here's what I wanted to point out. The man who came in with the, like you said, the contraption on his neck, I forget what they call it, the black box. He came in saying he was repeating that riddle, like Brandon said, the Mojave seems like wet land, whatever. He walked by the patrolman, by the way. There's a border officer there who saw him doing that and said, "Oh, well, no, I guess that's that." Like, nobody checked. There was a couple ways to save that community, and one would have been for top flight security to have gotten out their ass and inspected what was under the blanket. That's kind of what pissed me off. Is like, this man was repeating something like a zombie over and over and over, and nobody caught it until he passed out in the middle of the town square. That pissed me off more than the Impossible Man piece.
He runs back and he tells Maximus to get in the fridge. We saw Maximus come out of that fridge like 7 times last season. And then he is really emotional, which it was. And then the nuke goes off, and then we see Hank, Lucy's daddy, down in the bunker, looking like, I had to do this. I didn't like it, but I had to do it. And you see his pit boy say detonated, and then he came back in and read a book to Lucy. We cut to the present. Maximus is at the Brotherhood on a mission. It's basically like a side quest in the video game. They're killing ghouls. Feral ghouls, by the way. So there's different levels of ghouls. We got the ghoul like we got, like our boy Walton Goggins, and then there's feral ghouls who are just far gone, and you can see I take them out. And they basically are looking for this little device, and they take it back to the crib, and he gives it to Quintus. He's like, "What's this shit?" And Quintus is like, "This will fulfill the promise to make this fallen world better." And he puts it down. He gives it down to the people. They fly down. They put it in this device. Then we see all these windmills pop up, and when the windmills pop up, it reveals Area 51. So they're somewhere around New Mexico. So we over in Vegas, Lucy and the ghoul are walking, and they still beefing because, Lucy's like, "Man, you are fucking miserable. You treat people like shit. Like, when your family sees you, they're not even gonna know who you are. Not because your face is disfigured, because you're a fucking asshole. Do you want them to look at you like that?" And then he's like, "Listen, man, I've been through a lot. Fuck that." And they're walking by an old abandoned hospital, and you hear somebody crying in the hospital, and Lucy's like, "I gotta go help him." That's what Chanel would have done. She'd have been like, "Oh, I gotta go help him." And
I think in general, it's not obviously a bad thing to want to go help, but I think that what was pissing me off is like, we're in the wasteland and this man has 200 plus years of wisdom over you of how to handle this. So I would definitely defer to him. Like, I know he's a little bit ornery, but she's running into an abandoned building, and it could be, you ever gotten those chain text messages? Like, if somebody ever leaves a baby on your doorstep, don't answer the door. Have you ever seen those?
yes.
Yeah, that's what it basically is. It's like, they got a walkie-talkie inside a bassinet, girl. They trying to grab you. Don't go in there. So that was Lucy was pissing me off because he's obviously aware of something you're not aware of, even if he is like an old ghouly asshole.
So then they go in and they see these people from the Legion, and the ghoul was like, "Oh, I don't fuck with these motherfuckers." And Lucy's like, "No, we gotta save them." It's a woman, and she's like tied
He
up and
says
crying.
tunics, yuck. Y'all are too far west, which I don't know what that means. But Lucy thinks he's being mean, but I would have been like, okay, hold on, ma'am, before I help you, tell me about them tunics. Because I would have been like, there's something I need to know. Like the way she's approaching this is there's a little bit of privilege in here, and so it's not lost on me. Like, I wonder if I would feel the same about the character. I did actually think, like, if this character was Black or Asian, would I feel the same way? Asian not so much, East Asian not so much. Maybe like Pacific Islander or Black, would I be like, oh, she's privileged? But I think in general, being what they call them, a tanker. What they call them when they're raising the thing? A submarine baby, a vaulter. Being a vaulty, she is like obviously sheltered, but there's also a level of like not at. I don't understand how she hasn't developed the basic survival skills to say, "Oh, you know what this uniform is? This costume. What is this?"
Because she grew up where everyone wore the same costume and never had to deal with that.
Exactly.
She only been out of the vault for like a month.
But that's my point, right? Like, okay, so you know a ghoul's face is a thing. If two people got the same outfit on, and I haven't seen this outfit before, and he calls them something, I'm gonna be like, okay, what are tunics?
Yeah,
What's that
but
mean?
he's also an asshole. So she thinks he's just being an asshole.
No, I agree, but I think that again,
because he literally goes over to the other guy, slits his throat, and eats his Adam's apple. So she thinks this is a fucking crazy person.
Right, but remember how in the first episode she tried to give the guys a chance, cons a chance to like give in, and they didn't. So like there's gonna have to only be so many times when he's like, listen, people are not how you think they are. They have devolved into a different type of society. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I'm not saying she should let her humanity be like eroded and not help people. I'm saying that she should lean on his knowledge of like, what kind of creature is that? What kind of person is that? What did this symbol mean? And he can be an asshole on his own, but like take the knowledge. And I think that's where the privilege comes in, with her being so happy-go-lucky, and also not to mention her dad being a war criminal and kind of teaching her to be a little bit arrogant. That's all I'm trying to say.
They run into, so she goes over, helps the woman. He gets infected by eating that Adam's apple, realizes that he was irradiated. And then these fucking little scorpions come out and attack him. They shoot them and get them off of him. Then you hear this noise, and they go over to the door. And they open, the door busts open, and it's a giant fucking irradiated scorpion that starts fighting them.
Big Daddy Scorpion.
And they're running around and ducking under desks and trying to hide. And the ghoul gets was it a grenade? He get a grenade? I think he got a grenade. Yeah, he got a grenade, and he took the pin out, threw it in the scorpion's mouth, and it exploded, and they just got free.
He said something like, "Here you go, sweetheart. Just something delicious." He had a great catchphrase in that moment.
But then we realized the woman and the ghoul were both suffering from radiation poisoning. And Lucy goes to get her stim pack, and she only got one stim pack for the two of them.
Mm-hmm. And mind you, he had already said when they first got there, don't waste your stim pack on the tunics. That's a waste of stim pack. And again, she thinks he's being an asshole, but again, due to knowledge.
But do you know what the ghoul said when he was laying on the ground, tweaking out, looking for the stim pack? You know what he said?
You only got one, and golden rule is use it. Treat me how you want to be treated.
No, that's not what he said. This is what he said.
I need it 'cause you know that I'm a fiend.
That's what he said.
That's very funny.
That's what he said.
I'm gonna give you what you got a great job. You got a good drop in today. I'm gonna give you that one. He is a fan, and he need that stim pack. But I think in general, like I just think he's ornery for a reason. And I think you got to take the knowledge that this old ghoul is telling you about the streets. Basically, it's just like, take the knowledge, not the attitude. So he is saying there's one stim pack, don't waste it on her. And she uses it on her, and she goes, I only have one, and she's human, and she'll die without it, and you won't die because you're never dead, kind of thing. And I was just so irritated with her because I'm like, you all at the end of the day, he can be an asshole, but he's kept you alive at this point, and I don't understand her. She was pissing me off. That's all I'm saying.
And so then she gives it to her and leaves him. And she goes, "You can handle it. I'll be back. Hopefully you'll be good when I get back." So she leaves with him and with the girl and taking her back to her crib. Back in Vault 33, Norm then let all the rich people out, and they think it's Reclamation Day.
Wait, did we miss the kid scene?
What kid scene?
Is the kid scene the very first scene? Because I remember thinking, or that's episode 3. Okay, sorry. You're right. Keep going. That's episode 3.
While getting dressed, they all getting dressed and shit. And they like, "Where Bud Atkins at?" And he's like, see, he ain't here.
Did.
He dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 200 years. And it is in fact Reclamation Day. And he says the first job
They
that
were
we
like,
have to do.
We know y'all didn't. We know you didn't wake us up and it's not Reclamation Day. What the hell day is it? Is it Martin Luther King Day? Like what? Why would you wake us up?
He said the first thing we got to do is get the fuck out of there. And they start freaking out because they.
Yeah,
they
he
stuck.
says it's Bud's final test, and then he says he is the evolution of super managers and he's in charge. So he makes up all this good backstory because he does have a bunch of people who do technically have more knowledge than him about the unit, like about where the situation is. Because again, he's the only one from his vault who's discovered this whole backstory. So he does have to find a way to have like authority over them because he recognizes they're like looking for a corporate manager basically to lead them through this time period. So very smart on his part. And he says, this is a test to get us. He doesn't say it right then and there, but he's basically trying to set it up like Bud wants you to get us out of this vault. Don't be so confused. And this is a very smart way to go about it, I think.
And we cut to New Vegas. This one was pretty quick. Hank's just riding around the facility doing tests on lab rats with the minimized little block, and it keeps fucking up. They just keep blowing up. So then back in the Brotherhood, they go to Area 51 and they playing around with the weapons and shit. They see a fridge with an alien in it. They didn't give a fuck about the alien. They just wanted the fridge.
Like unauthentic icebox. They have the Declaration of Independence in the corner. They got like the Buddha, the original Buddha statue. They don't give a fuck. They're just walking through all these relics, which I did think was a very funny scene. Like they have all these things in America, or not in America, like in our contemporary history that like would be valuable in a museum somewhere, and they're just like playing, hacky sack with them.
They see a nice ass car from the 50s and decide to just shoot it
Hilarious.
up.
Yeah, they say, let's see what this baby can do. And obviously in our Western modern brains, we're like, oh, they're going to get in the car and see how fast it goes. And they literally shoot it with the machine gun and go, that was fun. And I hope there's a car lover out there who like felt every bullet to their own chest. Cause that would drop, like they found an authentic car that would be like $1 billion today. And instead they shoot it right up because they're dumb. And they are definitely giving like the new age military. I understand that that's the metaphor for them.
Maximus takes a young recruit and tells him, he's like, why the fuck you washing your ass? He was like, why we do this is we got to better ourselves. We got to make the world better than what it was. And part of that is washing your ass. And then Dane,
honestly fair, but also he also wants to be like, and also I've had hoes before. I know you ain't seen no women, but I got a girl, and if I run into her again and I smell bad, it's a wrap. So I gotta stay fresh just in case I see her again.
I mean,
I need it 'cause you know that I'm a fiend.
that's Maximus, because Lucy is a professional. You gotta remember, she comes from the breeding vault. They were born and bred
to
be good at sex.
To have more babies.
That is what that was what that vote was for.
He was born and bred to like take a vow of chastity, basically, because it's a sausage party in the Brotherhood. So yeah, he's like, I know you don't have nobody dress up for it, but if I close my locker and my crush is there and I smell bad, I'm gonna be pissed.
So Dane comes in and says Quintus is trying to unite the Brotherhood. Like, this is stupid. And then Maximus is like, no, maybe it's not that bad. We'll see. Alarm goes off because another faction ship is coming in. And we see that Quintus invited them to hold court with all the different faction leaders because they're kind of split. And he basically want them all to come together to attack, to like fight this last part of the split Brotherhood, the Commonwealth.
Yeah,
and they like, dog, they're going to fuck us up.
Here's what I think, though. I think the order is that they all report to the Commonwealth, is my understanding. And so the Commonwealth is like kind of the headquarters of the Brotherhood, or like originally that's what I thought it was. And these other factions like almost like pay tithes or like taxes to them, and so they're like, we don't want to go against them because that topples the whole structure. And so this is my interpretation, that like their cleric of the Brotherhood is like, let's all do our own thing and we could be like independent nation instead of like paying them, paying the royal family. But yeah, and so he calls this meeting and intentionally doesn't include the Commonwealth for this reason.
And they start arguing, and Quintus had enough, and he's like, look, we got our differences, but the one thing we agree on is power. And he brings out these fusion cores to show him, like, I got the power. And they're like, hey, dog, let me get up one of them. Fuck the Commonwealth. If you getting us one of these.
Yeah. There's also an interesting dynamic of like, I forget which ones, but like one of them, there's a funny joke about like some of them have rules where they let anything fly, but they don't let women talk. And then there's a woman leader for the other one who's like, I'm not into the religion thing. Like, don't try to sell me on like, oh, this is moral. We don't really care. It just has to make sense. So like the different factions have different personalities. I think it was like Coronado, freaking another part of the US. Like basically these factions of the states are all coming together, and he needs to get all 5 of them in alignment, or else if one of them is not, it's not going to work.
By the way, I had to watch the Peaches and Cream music video to get that drop.
Did you?
And that video is so explicit without being explicit.
They were just licking on toes and whipped cream.
Without being explicit. Like, it's not even that. They just got like peaches and they're like pouring the peaches. But it's like, it's so explicit without being explicit. It's the funniest thing I've watched in a long time. It's so hilarious.
I do think it's weird too how like, especially in that time period, like food was so sexualized. And it's like being fat is supposedly not sexy because of fat phobia, but like having syrup dripping down your throat is. I can't make sense of it.
Because it's an allegory.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, when you think about it, it's like, yeah, we want to see these skinny models covered in honey and whipped cream, but we don't actually want them.
This is the other thing. So on my other podcast, Hindsight, we watch old movies. That's what we do. We watch old movies, mostly from the 90s, early 2000s, in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And the one thing I've noticed by watching all these movies is that we have made progress on that. The standard of beauty today, the spectrum of beauty today, in terms of like how we present women, more so men has changed a little bit, but particularly women, the spectrum of beauty today is much vaster than it was in the 80s and 90s. Like in the 80s and 90s, if you watch these movies when they're putting up like, these are the women that are like the hot, like these are the hot girls, right? They're all the same, no matter the race, black, white, Latina, it's the same archetype. Like 5'6", skinny, long hair, big boobs. Not even really big, just like big for their body.
I'll take half 50% any day.
Just big for their body. Whereas like today, if you watch like music videos or movies, you have skinny hot girls. You have like the white girls like Sydney Sweeney. You got the skinny white girls with no body. You got the tall, thin black girls like Gabrielle Union. You got the thick black women. You got the curvy women. You got the women with breast implants. You got the women with BBLs. It's like a spectrum.
Interesting.
Of sexy.
Okay.
And you got like the Jill Scotts of the world who have seemed the sexy. You got the Erykah Badu's who people love. It's a wide spectrum.
What a theorem.
It's a wide spectrum of what is deemed sexy in the world. Whereas if you go back and watch a music video in the 90s, watch a movie in the 90s with black people, watch a rock video, watch a hip hop video, watch a movie. It's the same woman, just different colors.
I hear you. You're not wrong, but I just don't. I think it's hard for me to agree that like the spectrum of sexy has really grown as much as it, but I do agree that it looks different. So I don't know what word I would use besides grown, but yeah. I think my problem is that either way, there's still like a paradigm of, yes, you're either attractive or not attractive based on like a heterosexual man, average man, and that or collective man's opinion. And I think that's problematic in general. But I do agree with you that the ways that women models show up is different, and there is like more opportunity for plus size models and
There's
models
way
of
more
different
body
shapes and body
types
style
today. Way more body types today.
in media. Sure.
Yeah. If I see that when I watch these movies, it's startling. Every movie and every music video, it's the same. It's the same woman, just a different race in terms of body type. So that was just something I noticed watching all those old
Thank
movies.
you for that. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Very important. It's very important. Now, here's the thing. Men, we don't get that benefit of the doubt, right? It's the same men back then as it is today. Tall, you got to be tall. You got to be over 6 feet tall. You got to be handsome. You got to be in shape. There you go. Same men. No different. We don't get that benefit of the doubt. We get, standards for men are so high. It's so high.
In a music video?
We just can't reach them. It's just so high.
You're talking about just music videos, right?
And movies. It's just so high.
No, because Kevin James was like a word.
Kevin James was not presented as sexy. He was just a movie star. I'm talking about what's being
Kevin James
presented
was
as
presented
sexy.
as sexy in Hitch.
No, he was not.
Okay.
I'm not talking about
I see
making
what
it.
you're saying, like that, like where they slow the music down and like put the
Yes,
spotlight on.
it's
they
the
don't
same
get,
man.
It's a joke.
Whereas,
No, it is a joke that like fat people are not sexy, but they can be cute. I agree. Yeah, you're
whereas
right. That's
today,
fatphobia.
whereas today they'll have a movie and they'll have a Jill Scott body type. They'll have a Megan. Like if you put Megan Thee Stallion in a music video in 1995, people be like, "Who's this giant woman? Like who's this giant woman?"
Right.
And today it's like, look at fucking Megan Thee Stallion. Like what the fuck? Like it's a completely different viewpoint of like.
I agree.
Like that.
I think there's something to be said about like who's in control of what and how the diversity of that helps. But I think the bigger point I want to bring around before we go back to the recap is that like all the isms hurt everybody just in different ways. Like colorism hurts light-skinned men and dark-skinned women. Like racism hurts Black people, but it also hurts like diversity overall and the quality of things. Sexism hurts the quality of things because women don't have the resources they need, and also like leadership is impacted by not having the right diversity of thought and like experience that women and mothers bring to the table, and people who can't have children. There's like all these classism hurts white people and Black people alike. Like it deprives someone at some level of something, and if you don't think about it holistically, you won't realize how like we are all impacted when things are not equitable. So like as a joke, sure, like yeah, if it's not fat phobia, we think of it mostly in how it harms women and eating disorders and body disorders, but like at the end of the day, it does harm men, the ideas of what they find sexy and what they find attainable, and their ideas of masculinity and what's attractive.
Well, there's
And
a
it
reverse
really-
of that, where the benefit that men get is, men don't get to be presented as like the sex figure when they're fat, but they get to be this. They get to have the sexy woman when they're fat, right? Like Biggie is in these music. I watched the Get Money video the other day, and Biggie's in his music video, and he's literally got a cane. Like he can't move. He's that big, and he's got like the finest woman in the world with him. You would never see that in reverse. You would never see like a 300-pound, 5'4" woman, and you've got like The Rock, like there with her. Like they would never have shown that back then.
Well, I will say there's a movie that does do that. I watched Bride Hard recently with my mom, and Davine is in there, and they non-ironically make her a very sexy woman, and it's not a joke. It's not funny that she's thick and Black. It's just like she is sexy, and there's no haha about it. And I will say, like, as not great as that movie was, it is a joy to have a Black woman non-ironically be like, I'm sexy, men want me, what the fuck is funny? Are you laughing? That doesn't make sense because I am sexy and men want me. So what would the joke be? And so I really appreciated seeing that representation, and we don't see that a lot. Same thing with like, anything where Queen Latifah was the hetero woman lead with a man, like they would give her Common, they would give her LL Cool J, like they would give her all the fine niggas and be like, look, she's a full
she was the
woman,
one
she's a
in
tall
the
woman.
90s. But here's
Right,
the thing.
exactly. But
maybe it's my echo chamber, right? Maybe I'm in the echo chamber. But like when I get on social media, which isn't as much as I used to, I just see men drooling over like Wumi Masaka or Danielle Brooks. And I can tell you, if I watched the TV show in 1994 and Wumi Masaka was in there and Danielle Brooks was in there, they would not be like, "Oh my God, do you see Wumi Masaka? Oh my God!" Like that wouldn't have been like how it was presented in 1994. It just wouldn't have.
It is your echo chamber, but you're not wrong. I think that there's progress over time. There's the proliferation of different media outlets. So the idea of like, you wouldn't have seen that in 94 because what would you have had? AOL chat rooms and then what they tell you in like a fucking magazine. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have had access to everyone's opinion to be able to realize like, oh, this isn't some niche AOL chat room of people like women who are over 200 pounds. Like it's more that a lot of men like that, and like we're not going to have people filtering that opinion out of like mainstream media anymore. Like anyone can access that opinion now. So I think that these things have always been around, just like alternative cultures and lifestyles have always been around, but we are now, it's like how people say like, oh, we've gone too far, or like it wasn't like this in my day. And it's like, no, your world is just bigger now, and it's hard for you to realize you're not the center of the universe. So I do agree with you that like there was not a market for it, but it's as simple as like, you know, finding out that when, you know, it costs less money for designers to only style skinny women, and so they forced that on us and made that the ideal instead of like just embracing all women's bodies. Women have been fat since the beginning of time, and instead of just designing for that and being like, hey guys, here's all the sizes, they said, well, we can push this narrative because there's only 3 channels on the freaking TV and only 2 white publications, and you know what I mean. So I think that's why racism hurts us all, because there are people living their life in different ways across the whole country, but we were only getting one narrative of like what the American family should look like, what women should look like, what relationships should look like.
You know what
so
you
yes,
got in the 90s? You know what you get? So like in Sinners, Michael B. Jordan is like fiending over Wumi Masaka, just like thirsty as fuck over
life.
him, right?
Love his life. Mm-hmm.
You know what you get in the 90s? You get what was that?
Martin
what was
Lawrence
that movie?
In a dress?
No. That's not what I meant. You get Boomerang. You get Boomerang where they want me to believe that Halle Berry is not fine. That's what they want me to believe in that movie.
I mean, or you even get like,
which also was kind of woke for the time, because Robin Givens, who was dark skinned, was presented as in that movie as like, she is who you want to be. But if you actually look at the body, if you take away like the face and the skin, if you look at the body type for Robin Givens and Halle Berry, it's the same body type in all the movies. Like if you just go through the 90s, it's just the same body type. So I didn't mean to get on such a huge tangent, but I thought this was a good place to cut that in, because I've just noticed that over the last month, like couple months, just watching all these 90s movies back to back to back to back. I'm just like, it's all the same woman. It's just every movie. It's the same woman.
Yeah,
it's not the same woman like as the same woman, but the same body type. I mean, not the.
It's just so important to look back and see, like people talk about like on Bridget Jones, what's her name? Catherine Zeta-Jones. That's not who that was. The white lady, Zellweger.
Bridget Nielsen.
Zellweger. Is it Renee Zellweger?
Yes.
She was like skinnier than me, and people call her, the whole point of the movie is she's too fat. Right? Like you look back at stuff, like if you look back at anything before, like right now, the whole idea is like, oh my God, these women are so old and so fat. And it's like, or even Titanic, right? Like Rose, whatever. I know she's a very famous person. I can't remember her name. She was like 35, and they acted like she was this elderly woman who was having this tryst with the 18-year-old. And it was so crazy that she would, I mean, mind you, if he was 18, she's 35, that is inappropriate. But my point being that the way that women have been portrayed has been harmful to everyone. And when men see that and realize that hurts us, it hurts your daughters, it hurts you, it hurts women you don't know, you should care about it. I think the world is a better place when we recognize all these things are connected.
And I'm not trying to say it's perfect now. I'm just saying it's so much better and refreshing.
Definitely different,
because
but it's not fixed because we haven't acknowledged the root cause, which is that like apathy about how other people are represented and treated does affect you. And even if it doesn't, you should care because you see how it helps other people. That's my point of the day. Yes.
Like you would have never seen Girls Trip in 1995. Like that movie wouldn't have existed in 1995.
Well, I mean, you did, right? We got Set It Off, but like
but Set It Off was
we're non-sexualized.
Yeah, Queen Latifah was completely non-sexualized in that movie.
But you wouldn't have seen that because, like, also women in comedy didn't have opportunities. Like, they don't believe, like, there was the Girls Trip did all those numbers because they didn't believe that 4 Black women would bring people to the, like, there, for some reason, even though Black women have like all the educational power and all this financial power, they didn't believe we would go to the movies and it would be worth it. Like, there's such a discounting of, unless it's a Medea movie or a Tyler Perry movie, all of a sudden our audience isn't enough to make movies. But I will say that we don't always go out and support our movies. So anyway, that's for the people who want timestamps. I don't do the YouTube. I know we just talked for like 40 minutes. We're gonna get back to Fallout, but mind you,
Lucy,
I just think about like the people who don't give a fuck about none of this. We feel for you.
Lucy takes the girl back to her crib, and she's like, she calls her a profligate. She's like, what? Like, why are you calling me that? And she
I had
was
to look
like,
it up. It means somebody who like takes stuff in excess and doesn't appreciate anything, and that is what a vaultee would be for sure.
and she says, listen, you should go home. I wouldn't want to see you get essayed by the wrong people. And I'm like, the wrong people? Who the right people?
Because who are the right people? And two, that's when I would have said, you know what? He might be an asshole, but the Ghoul had a point. I would have left her where I was at and started backtracking my ass back to back to like the fork in the road. I think this is where it's like, all right, you can blame it on him or whatever, but you're doing a little bit too much. And also, I wouldn't have went nowhere with that lady without being like, where are you from? How'd you get here? Where are your people at? And what are they going to do when I bring you back? Like, she needs to turn this on.
They get to the mountain. There's a bunch of legionnaires standing out there looking crazy, standing on the mountain. And I think at that point, Lucy started to see something was up, but not everything. Back in the vault, Norm made.
And wait, question. If you didn't play the video games, would you know the legionnaires without?
No.
I shouldn't know what they were, right? Okay, so like now they're just starting to show different groups. So we've seen the cons, and now we see the legionnaires are like people who want to cosplay Roman Empire. So that's what the Legion is. And then we have the Brotherhood, and we're going to see other stuff.
Back at the vote, Norm made up this bullshit about, look, it's been 200 years. We've been genetically, I'm from a breeding vote that's genetically manipulated the best managers in the world. We was bred to be managers. And I'm the peak of that. And they're like, oh,
yep.
All right, well, I'm going to listen to you then.
Right.
And so then he makes up some merits to like inspire them, which are basically just Band-Aids.
Round Band-Aids. Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to give y'all merit dots. And he's, again, this is smart thinking because he wasn't thinking when he opened up the vault. He was like, fuck you, bud. But this is the only way to motivate them, is to tell them it's a corporate retreat exercise and like this is trust falling and they're going to do it, because they immediately snap into like, oh, actually I know the people who installed the air vents and we should be able to get through there. Like they do turn online when he gamifies it in that way.
Back in New Vegas, Hank decants this dude and he puts an implant on him. I was like, God, this guy's an asshole. And then he starts talking to the dude and he's like, listen, I was looking at your file and it said that you was rich as fuck, but when you bought the vault, you ain't buy shit for your family. You just bought some shit for you. And the guy was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna try to spend that money on them, is, protecting myself. And so Hank decanted this guy because he was an asshole, and tested on him.
Hank is the ultimate hypocrite, because literally you bombed a bunch of families that you didn't deem important for your agenda, but you want to get mad at him about not valuing his two people. Like,
well, Hank thinks he's doing something good. We know that from season 1. Somebody told him to do that, and he thinks that that was the right thing to do. It wasn't the right thing to do.
He knows there's something potentially wrong because of the moment where he's having trouble looking at himself in the mirror when that happens.
Yeah, but in his mind,
he doesn't care.
In his mind, there's a difference between I'm doing something bad for the greater good versus fuck my family, I'm a rich ass, so I'm protecting myself. Like, there is no greater good. But the point I'm trying to make
to people who need to hear it is those are the same guy, and they think they're different guys, but it's the same guy. And that's important for politics today. That's the same guy.
Yeah, but they think they're different. In his mind, there is a difference. Like, there is a difference in, like, if I go rob a store to get diapers for my kids, and on the way out to get them diapers for my kids, I got to fuck someone up to get away, versus I'm rich and I'm about to rob this store because it's funny to me, and I'm going to go in there and take the shit and then fuck someone up because I want to. it's the same outcome, but we don't view those things as the same.
Okay, I'm gonna say one comment so we can move on, but I would say I think you're framing it the way those guys would think to frame it. Hank would frame it that way, but the way that I think it actually should be framed is like there's no difference between the guy who goes to rob the convenience store and the guy who willingly makes the bullets because he says it's the only way to feed his family. I think that's kind of those are what I think are actually the same thing, and people would say they're different.
Yes, but what I said is right too. Don't try to dismiss my allegory.
No, I'm saying what you're saying is what Hank would argue because he's like, look, clearly I'm a better person because I'm not doing the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying
that's what everyone would do.
That, right, exactly. But but some people who recognize the way that systems work like oppressively is that, oh shit, if I'm a part of the system at all, I'm part of the problem. I'm not just because I'm another layer away from it doesn't mean I'm good and they're bad. I think that's kind of
but people put their situation is justification for doing whatever it costs to fix their situation is what right. And so and Hank is like right. I'm trying to save the world and I gotta hurt these people to save the larger world is what he's I was not just watching a show. Was it this show? It was it this show when they were like we got it. I was watching something and they were basically like I gotta kill.
No, it was this show. It was the show.
Was it the show when it was like
it's the next episode?
It's the next episode where like I could kill this many people, but it'll save this many people. Yeah. And so it's basically like yeah, okay. Yeah, would you give up the lives of 10 people to save 100,000? And if you do math, it does make sense, but does it act? What's the difference between just killing 100,000 people? You just kill 10 people.
But I think what you're talking about this in terms of the show. I'm talking about this in terms of American politics and just trying to make the point that a lot of people think they're just saving their family, but they are actually also harming other families. And that's important to know. That's important to be accountable for.
But yes, that's a great allegory because I believe there's a difference between a grifter and a believer who believes bad things. Like, I think there's a difference between someone who knows something's terrible and lies to you and pretends that it's good, and then the person who thinks they're doing the good thing, but it's actually the bad thing. At the end of the day, it's the same outcome, but they're not the same person to me. They're different people.
I'm here to say in 2025, there's now a new function of a person who comes and says, hey, actually, you think you're not doing a bad thing, but you are. And people need to be held accountable for turning that off, for ignoring that.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, exactly. So then he blows that man up. He did. And so then they cut to Vault 33. They get out. They see the ocean. They're like, oh, shit, look how nice this is. But they don't realize
somebody
the rest
says,
of the world
oh,
like,
man, they got rid of the mall. Did you hear that part?
No, I didn't hear that.
The mall's gone. That's why I said I want to name this episode on the podcast "The Mall's Gone" because somebody's ad lib was they were like, "Oh man, I think they're like at Santa Monica Pier or whatever that that Ferris wheel I think is part of the California coastline." And anyway, it just cracks me up because they're so. This is kind of another good allegory here or metaphor. They're so aloof that they're thinking about, oh man, these buildings are gone, and they're not thinking about the millions of lives that are gone because of what their company did.
Then we cut back to the Brotherhood. Max basically gets challenged to a bareback fight. That's what they called it.
But I think so. We think the cleric set this up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because he keeps looking over there. He basically like all the heads of because they've decided they're going to do this for the power reserves that they're going to share out, and so they're all sitting there like doing bullshit, and all the leaders of the different factions are at the head of the table. And so, what's the name of the cleric that owns this what's his name? The main Quintus. So he keeps looking at Quintus like, I know you're not about to let him step to me. And Quintus is like, I don't see anything. He's like, oh, wow, Quintus set me up. So basically this dude is like, I heard you're the one who took down Moldaver and I want to fight you. And he's like, I would like to get my armor. He's like, no armor, let's fight. And so he's realized he's being set up. 2, during the fight, homeboy pulls out a knife. And it's like, it's a knife. And my thing about that is they're setting you up to die. So I think this is going to grow in the back of his head about his understanding of like, at the end of the day, he's not actually like he got stepped up into this level of like by being the sword to Quintus, but he's not actually safe at all in this environment, and that's good for him to know so he can make good choices down the line. Because I feel like he had some reservations at the end of season 1. He didn't want to go back into the system, and then as he's like talking to his knight, his guy, like you're not sure if he's like falling for it again or whatever. So it's important for him to remember like they will chew you up and spit you out. Do not get lost in like this ideology.
So yeah, Maximus whips his ass and kills him, and that was the end of the episode, basically. Oh,
well,
no.
Maximus.
Then,
okay, wait, hold on. No, but Maximus almost loses. Like Maximus gets stomped on a little bit, and we think he's not going to win, but he does ultimately do it, and he does do like the guy pulls a knife out. He almost gets Maximus. He gets him in the end, and then
Kamal Nanjiani shows up.
You know what's been funny? He's been doing a podcast run, and have you heard his? I know he has a new stand up out. Have you heard though how disappointed he was that he was in the Eternals and it didn't turn into like a 4-movie run? He talks about that. He says like when he get cast in a Marvel movie, he's like, oh man, clear my schedule for the next 3 years. Like, man, I'm gonna be shooting. How am I gonna make this all work? And then none of the Eternals got picked up to be like ongoing characters. And he's talked publicly about how disappointed he was that happened. I'm like, I would feel that way too. If Marvel was having the moment it had, and then I had a Marvel side movie and they're like, nah, y'all don't have the same juice, that would have hurt me. So I just listened to him on the Stabby's World podcast, and he was talking about that experience, and he looks great. He's in shape. He's taking good care of himself. And Camille, yeah, we got our Camille.
Then we cut to episode 3. We go to episode 3, The Profligate, and they're at this factory, and we see our boy Thaddeus from season 1, who took that snake oil salesman shit, and it basically turned his ass to a ghoul. And he got.
You remember when I told you there was a scene in the previews that I thought you would love, but you hadn't seen it? It was this one.
Oh, it was this one? And, he got some child slaves, and they basically go out there and get some bottles and bottling shit for him. But, most kids don't make it to that age in this world. And they got a roof over their head.
Some of them aren't. Yeah, he cares about them. He's giving them like encouragement. He's telling them platitudes. He's quoting Maya Angelou to them. He's trying to encourage the kids. And then he says, as Brandon says, he goes, come on, guys, what do we always say? And they all say, most kids are dead by this age. He's like, that's the spirit. And I think there's just something about post-apocalyptic stuff that feels relevant to today that hits very different.
And then this privileged black girl, she gets upset because one of the kids is making fun of her because they said she looked like a ghoul. And, she can't possibly look like a ghoul. That's so bad. That hurt her feelings so bad that she looked like the ghoul. What about all them ghoul kids over there? It's okay to be looking like them and make fun of them. She's so privileged about that. And so Thaddeus, who is a ghoul, had to come up and be like, look, man, I'm a ghoul. There ain't nothing wrong with that. We cool. Like, don't be hurt because somebody said that. That's not an insult. Brush that shit off. Brush it off your shoulders and keep it moving. And I was so proud of him for that. Like, way to pump her up and show respect to the ghouls. I don't like all that separation. All right. I don't like clear skin and ghouls. Okay. I like my people and my kids together as one. All right. You understand that, Chanel? Do you understand?
Yeah, you want your kids to go to Montessori with feral ghouls. I get it. Mm-hmm.
No, they weren't feral.
I know that's what I'm saying, but you believe in equity so much you don't even care if they're feral or not. You say let all the ghouls in, tear down the borders.
Feral is not cosmetic.
What about the B613 ghouls? What about them? What about them and the caravans of ghouls that they're bringing
that's just cosmetic. That's just cosmetic.
Don't actually have funding, but they're in there pretending that there's kids.
Yeah, that's just cosmetic. I'm okay with them.
America's terrible.
But the feral ghouls, they're not cosmetic. They fucked up. That's different. That's a different thing.
Yeah, no. I do believe that the feral ghouls deserve healthcare for all, and they deserve treatment, not punishment.
There's no treatment.
They deserve treatment, not punishment. They deserve. They deserve. They deserve. Treatment.
What you want to save the infected on The Last of Us too?
We to decriminalize feralness. Decriminalize feralness. That's my campaign slogan.
You would try to save the infected on The Last of Us. I can see that. They deserve to be phased. And then you
No,
get bit.
those they're nasty. No, they're nasty. That all that little all the texture. You're for those who don't know, we recapped the first season of The Last of Us, but we didn't do season 2 because it started to trigger my like mushroom phobia because those mushrooms really grossed me out and I couldn't look at the spores. So we deaded that. But we tried to recap almost every video game that's turned into a show. It's just we can't do that one.
Guess what the Hasbro YouTube channel is showing right now?
Mario World.
24/7 episodes of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, going
back to back, just nonstop, all of them until you get to the end.
You know what's so funny? There's a lot of channels on this thing that we used to have when I was growing up called cable, and they have that now. Where like you go to a channel, it's like channel 274, and they just play back to back, all Law and Order. It's just all Law and Order, or all Crash Cam, or all Cash Cab, or all it's 24 hours of Jeopardy. They have that on the TV.
I didn't think you remembered cable. So then
I used to have a cable box that you screwed the things. I guess they still have cable cords now into the modem, but I used to have a cable box with a clicker. I used to have coaxials and I used to have dial-up. So I'm a dial-up child. I'm a child who was taught internet safety and to stay out of chat rooms. And I once had an AOL boyfriend. I don't know who that person was. And so I say that to say, don't disrespect me and the younger millennials. I'm not even younger. The millennials who can word process and also digital design. Don't play with us.
Back with Lucy, she getting escorted by some dudes in Spartan gear, and the girl she saved walks into the tent, and he was like, "You left your person behind," slit, and just kills her. And I was like, "Lucy, you did all that shit for nothing." She did.
Exactly. Went to the whole stim pack.
So then one of them take their helmets off, and it's Macaulay Culkin.
Yay!
By the way,
cheers in sign language.
He looks the exact like. Does this guy's face never get older? He don't look like an old man. He looked like a child to me.
No, yeah, I don't know how old he is, but he does have. I mean, you know what's crazy? Some people at a certain age that just have their face they're gonna have forever. That's what's crazy. Like you can be 3 and that's your face.
I mean, yeah.
So just imagine Brandon with no facial hair. That was him as a 3-year-old.
His face in Home Alone is the exact face he has now. Just a little bit older. It's the exact face.
A little bit older, yeah. Shout out to him. Love him. Great guy. We every once in a while we like to revisit what the Culkins or the Skarsgårds win in a fight. And I think we've never really like nailed down.
Well, we know the answer.
The answer to that. I think.
We know the answer.
Well, I think there's an argument. There's an argument that the Culkins would make the Culkins are scrappy.
No, they got no.
And then don't even get into the Hemsworths.
That's a better fight.
Hemsworths are probably. What, Hemsworth versus Skarsgårds?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're tall. Okay, I think I would rather do the Culkins versus the Culkins versus the Afflecks. That's who I want to see.
No, it should be.
I don't know if there's more than Ben and
a triple threat match. It should be the Hemsworths versus the Skarsgårds versus the Wayans brothers.
Oh, that's not a. The Wayans brothers are going to be the tag team champions.
I don't know.
Are you joking? Wait, what? Oh no! Sorry, I take out the Afflecks and I trade you the Lawrence brothers. Do you know who those are?
No.
Andy, Joey, and this is ridiculous.
I don't know any of these people.
Joey. Okay, and it's gonna be the Lawrence brothers versus the Jonas brothers. That's the fight I want to see.
They're negotiating her prima noctis. Did you look that up? You know?
Yeah, I did. Yep, it's the rights to the first night of SA with the woman that's been betrothed. Matthew. No way I forgot Matthew Lawrence, and Matthew Lawrence is the fine one. Wow.
And she was like, "Look, dog, I'm not going to do that. Plus, like, I'm not a virgin no more. Like, I'm from the breeding vault, dog. I'd have been ran through. You don't want none of this." That's basically what she said.
That is actually what she said. And they're like, ew.
Well, she said, I did cousin shit. And they was like, okay, that's a step too far for me. Like, what are y'all doing down there?
Which is
Like,
hilarious because y'all are supposed to be Romans, but then they keep calling him Kaiser, and she's like, "Do you mean Caesar?" And I'm like, "Please don't correct these men that are holding you hostage, babes."
so then they are like, they find out that there's two leaders, and the dead former leader named his successor, but we don't know who it is because it's in his fucking hand, and we can't get to him. And she was like, "Well, let me go over there and negotiate that shit."
Every time somebody tries to approach the corpse, somebody shoots at them. So he's just there in the middle, and they won't just call it what's it called in the what's it called when the Cowboys use 3 paces? What's it called when they would be like, "Okay, 3 paces in turn."
A duel.
No, but like what's it called, like the walking part of it? You don't remember?
No.
Anyway, they don't go like, "Okay, we just go 3 paces. Let's do a hostage like a you throw the money over here and I'll send the hostage over there." They won't do that. But she goes, I have a certificate in family counseling. If you sit me down, I can just mediate this. Like, she's so stupid. I get being green, I get being kind, but she's actually, like I said, pissing me off because she's so dumb this whole episode.
And so they crucify her, literally.
You know what causes death when you're crucified?
Starvation.
Asphyxiation. You start to suffocate up there.
Oh, okay.
Back
at the hospital.
I don't know why I know that.
I don't know why you know that either. The ghoul is still fucked up, but the dog's there with him. And he starts talking to the dog, and he's like, it's really good to have somebody worth talking to. And he cuts out a tumor out of his own leg.
This is nasty. So that he can get that radiation out. But I just will say, what I notice is we keep talking about the ghoul is an asshole, but he's a learned asshole. Like he's just like twice been, once shy type, once been, twice shy. I don't know what the thing is. But the point about the ghoul is that the kindness he shows to this dog, I think, is like the real him. And he's very much just demonstrating like this environment is not like you're going to get eaten up. If you come out here trying to help everybody, it's like Walking Dead on crack. Like you cannot just walk in a place, because not to mention the humans will set you up. Like that lady in the tunic did not warn them about the big old scorpion the Scorpion King was in the kitchen and she knew it, right? He came out of there like a pterodactyl during a Jurassic Park fight, and she did not warn them. So my point is that the humans are bad and the creatures are even worse. And you don't I just need her to just do a little bit more listening and a little, use 2 of these and less of this one.
So, flashback, we see him back when he was Cooper with his wife a little bit before D-Day, and she crying and shit. And he's like, he knows what she's about to do, and she knows what she's about to do, but she don't know that he knows that she knows that he knows that she's about to do it. And then they show him at this fundraiser or whatever, and a serviceman runs up on him and starts talking to him about Robert House. He was like, you got to do what you got to do. He's like, why I got to do that shit? And that's where he has the speech. That's where he talks about, like, you got to do something bad to do something good.
Hold on. I know you're not going to skip over my congresswoman who I voted for.
No, that's next.
Okay, good. Well, he doesn't do the speech to the end.
Oh, yeah. So then this woman gets up there and she says, I'm the congresswoman. And she gives the worst speech you've ever heard from any politician.
She says, I'm Congresswoman Barbara Connors. And the reason why you never heard of me is because I don't take money from corporations. And I said, I voted for you, Barbara, whatever your name is, because you do not take money. You do not take super PAC money. You have not been bought by a certain country in the Middle East. And I love you for that. And I do think that she was boring, but my very staunch opinion is that that's what politicians should be. Boring. They should be boring and only care about legislation. Okay.
I have a much harder take than that. The politician that I want is the politician that takes all the money from the corporations and then does whatever the fuck they want with it.
Okay, I'm
That's
not.
what
No,
I
no,
want.
no, no, no. But the money corrupt. But absolute power corrupts absolutely. No matter what, that money's gonna get to their head. There's nobody on Earth in the history of Earth who's seen get a lot of money and not become an asshole. You can't name one. Even Bill Gates got divorced. You know what I'm saying? He has put a lot of black kids through college. So I say that to say the money is problematic. Now, if they did that and diverted those funds to the opposite thing,
No,
then
it's
you
not.
have
I
me.
mean, that's how it works a little bit. But like the money is like so that you can run and hire people and hire staff and whatever.
No,
Blah
I
blah
agree
blah.
what you're saying.
I'm saying I
if
want them to
the
take
person
the
took-
money, hire the best staff in the world,
Mhm.
and then if the corporation's advocating for something bad, you go out there and say the opposite. And you dare them to come out,
Right.
you dare them to come out and say, I gave you money to vote this way, which a corporation is not going to do. They just want to do it behind closed doors. But they don't actually want to come out and say, I gave you money to vote this way. And so
Well,
then
two
you
questions
keep
there.
going.
Do you not believe there's somebody threatening their lives? Like, do you not believe there's like some type of
No,
organized crime aspect to these promises?
no.
So they're just doing it because they're bad people. Because you're right. Because everybody takes money. Could
No,
do it.
they're just doing
you-
it because no, it's not because they're yeah, they are bad people. But it's not necessarily because they're bad people, it's because they want to win. The idea is it has to be somebody who doesn't care if they win on re-election. Because the next time election comes around, you're not gonna get the fucking money.
Well,
So
but I think there's something to be said about like the hubris of grifting over and over and over. Like Ted Cruz just saying, I'm going to get all the money I can get while I can, while letting people die on my watch, and not just saying, oh man, I'm about to run off on the plug for this 2 years, maybe 4, and then I'm out because I got to sleep at night. Like
yeah, that's what I said. You have to be willing not to win. The problem is,
no,
even
right,
even the good
even
the good politicians, it's a good job. You want to win it. You want to keep your job. You got good health care. You got good benefits. You want to keep your job.
This is what a bad person people are, is that Ted Cruz could have did his job for 4 years, gotten as much money as possible, and then said, actually, I'm going to let somebody else do this because I got to live it myself a little bit. I got to spend the rest of my life helping.
Oh, you saying you saying you could have just been terrible and made enough money where you don't have to be terrible no more.
Yeah, but people are making it their entire lifestyles,
Yeah.
entire lifetime. And I think that's why it's like the bad person. I think you'd be a bad person if you were poor, is what I'm realizing with some of these people, for one. But in general, I do agree with you. I think that would be interesting. I've said on this podcast before, I think the person who changes modern history will be the first executive to take a salary cap, or the first athlete to do that and be like, this money goes to XYZ thing, or like this money goes to universal income or whatever. Like that would actually change the actual Western world if somebody was to take their money and say, I'm calling on these people. I'm calling on LeBron James to make 99,999, and anything above that goes to children. Like whatever, right? That would actually, I think, be the most revolutionary thing in the world. But yeah, I do agree that taxes. Like no, I'm talking about an income cap. Like an income cap on the wealthy.
It's
right, but I'm saying like a voluntary, but it is the same thing. But then we just had this bill that ruined all of that and made it so that people make the most money pay the least taxes. So
yeah, I know. That's what I said. It's the same. Back in when
taxes,
Roosevelt did the New Deal, when we got all the social safety net that we have, they was taxing the rich people like 90%. Over a certain amount. Exactly. If you make over this money, we taking 90 cents out of every dollar you get.
None of those people was in the bread line. That's so funny. Like they paid 90% taxes and still had somewhere to sleep that night. Anyway, going back to Barbara, I love her. I think that I just wanted to bring one thing up since we're on the topic. There's this post going around. I don't know how real it is, but I think it is very real. And allegedly, it's someone who works for a food delivery service who says that two things that are like revelations. One is when you say you want priority express service, that doesn't actually speed up your order. It's just money that they take in profit, and they just slow down regular orders, so you don't actually eat your food faster by paying that $2.99. And the other thing they said is that a lot of the tips don't go to drivers. Some of the tips actually go to because they prorate it based on how desperate you are, like how low. Like basically, if you take a low order, they will keep giving you low orders because they recognize you're desperate, and then they give the higher orders to people who just started. So it's gamified, which I think everyone has experienced, because the more you do it, the less you make. And then thirdly, that the money that we think goes to tips in this particular company, allegedly, instead goes to a fund that goes to trying to bust driver unions. And that's one of the sickest things I've ever heard. And why
Allegedly.
I'm actually against. I said allegedly, but this is coming. It's the post is going on. I didn't write it. I'm just sharing what I read on the internet. And it's somebody who said they're like on an air gap computer in a library type shit. They were like, I've signed an NDA. I'm not supposed to tell y'all this, but it tracks. And I think until greed is dealt with, we're gonna be heading towards a new Vegas type situation where it's it's kill or be killed.
So then we go back to Rob. We go to we had a conference speech. So then at the Brotherhood meeting, we go back to the Brotherhood meeting. Some of the groups they backing out. They're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do this shit. And he says,
wait, because we said Kumail Nanjiani came, but we didn't say he's a delegate from the Commonwealth. So the Commonwealth somehow found out about this meeting and showed up and was like, oh, did y'all he's like, did y'all forget to call me? Because I know y'all is meeting in secret and y'all didn't call us. So the Commonwealth is there now. So now they're shook and they're like, actually, if they know we're going to do this, then we're going to, fall apart, which always happens when revolution is knocking at the door. So, and then there's this interesting speech that happens where the damn guy that you keep telling me what his name is, because I want to call him Titus. His name's not Titus. The main monk guy is like, hey, remember how this all started? And this is a crazy origin story of the Brotherhood. Apparently, a dude went on like after the war, like the nuclear war or whatever. A dude went to an assignment. He was working for the military and the government sent him somewhere, and he realized what the government was doing was wrong. So he thought the righteous thing to do was to kill everybody in the government and stand up for himself. And that's how the Brotherhood, or stand up for what he believed was right. And that's how the Brotherhood started. So the idea was that bloodshed was righteous because his cause was righteous. And it's this religious idea of like, if you crusade for the right reason, God will like mow down your enemies. That's basically what he says. Is that accurate? Is that how you interpreted that?
Yes. And so Maximus was like, I could just kill homeboy. And he was and that's when he gave that speech. And so then Max dips with Kamal Xander, that's his name in the
Wait. So then this is important too. So like, remember, Maximus is the sword to the cleric guy, and Maximus is like, I can just kill him. And the cleric guy is like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Get out of here. He's like, why are you talking to me? Duh, I don't want to kill him. And he's like, but the whole point of the story was that if you're righteous, he's like, get out my face. Like, you're so stupid. And so again, he already set him up to be killed. And then he embarrasses him in front of everyone and says, there's no need for a sword. So clearly this dude has like ulterior motives right now. And Maximus is kind of too dumb to pick up on it.
And so, Max goes out on a hunting trip with Xander. And I feel like Camille plays the same character in every movie. Plays the same person in every movie that I see him in, or TV show. And so,
not in The Big Sick. Apparently, in The Big Sick, he was a different character because he wrote that and produced his own movie, directed his own movie. So,
did you watch it?
I don't.
No, so you don't know that he's a different character.
And I have a reason why I didn't watch it that I can't say out loud.
He might be Denzel.
That's what I'm saying. So you ask, why are you asking me? I'm telling you, anyway, it's a movie about a romantic comedy drama. So he was not acting like this in that romantic comedy drama. And it's about his real wife who has a chronic illness.
Okay. So then he tells Max the elder cleric is about to make a mistake. And he's like, you know what? I can save all this. If you just give me that core, you just give me the cores. I can just walk out of here. We all good. We all peachy. And he tells
goes, actually, what we haven't. Oh, go ahead. You about to say it.
And he says, this is not the first time the Brotherhood's been on the verge of war. Let's talk it out before we get to that.
Yeah. And he says, I don't want to, don't tell nobody, but we're actually struggling to keep control of everything. It's real bad where we're at. So if you help us, you keep the balance of power and cooler heads prevail. So he's basically like, yeah, I know you're not supposed to be talking to me, but if you give me this, if you sneak and give me this, we can prevent the war. We can take the power away from one little faction of the Brotherhood and keep it centralized in the Commonwealth. And he goes, can we be hard dick for a second? And Maximus was like, because he don't know what, I didn't know what that meant either. But like he just is basically trying to convince him to give him the information so he can go back and end this.
So we go to the Legion. The Ghoul shows up. She goes to find Lucy, and he realizes there's 2 Caesars, and he's like, "Oh, I got a plan for this shit." And he's talking
Kaiser. I think he meant Kaiser.
Kaiser. And he tells the dog,
I'm joking.
I know. It is Kaiser, though. He tells the dog, I don't like her, but, you know, I kind of need her. And
I think he needs her for whenever he gets to his family or like Vaulty. Like he needs a Vaulty who knows Vaulty stuff for the fact that he's trying to get to the vault where his family is. That's what I assume.
So then the Victor, the robot, shows up, and he's like, Victor, that's you? And I just lost my spot on my list. Okay, yeah. And so the Ghoul's like, I gotta say to Vaulty, and he finds out about the NCR. So back at Area 51, Max is
Sorry, wait, what's the NCR?
The
New California Republic.
New
What are
California
they?
Republic. They're just like another group.
I
that
think
wants to do the
they're
right
another
thing.
group. Yeah, exactly. I think they're important, but like they're
Quote,
dwindling in numbers.
So then back at Area 51, Max is hanging with Xander, and they are getting along, and Kamani tells him, you know, you can try to fight me, but you don't want that smoke. And that was the end of the conversation from earlier. So then back near the Legion, someone comes out shooting towards the Ghoul, and it's someone from NCR, and he's like, oh, no, leave him alone. That's a good Ghoul. He one of the good ones. And then she comes over, and she's like, listen, dog. We over here by ourselves. We almost can get back together. You can help us. You can help us figure this shit out. I even got the shit you need. She had like them drugs that he need to survive. She's like, I even got what you can have it. We got more where this came from. You just help us. And the Ghoul was like, nah, dog, I don't think I'm gonna do that shit. I'm gonna go take care of what I need. But thank you for them drugs, though. I appreciate it. And he leaves. And so then we see Max and Xander on a mission, and we find out it's a big ass robot fight. And then they kill the robot. He got like a Thor hammer with a rocket on it. And they win the fight. And then we cut back to the Legion. I'm gonna start doing these recaps if we keep doing this by location, like we do Game of Thrones. It'll be easier. So then back at the Legion, Lucy's still hanging in there. And some vultures come to check on her. And they like, oh no, she's not gone yet. But we be here when she's ready. And then she's like starting to pass out. But then she sees the Ghoul, but she don't know if she's seeing things, but it really is him. And he's trying to bargain for him. He's like, look, you got what I need. And you say she's just a friend. So I need her. I need that. And so he makes a deal with her. He's like, look, I know where the NCR is. Y'all can wipe out the last NCR. All I need is that little girl up on that crucifix. You give me her, we good. And then they was all happy about that shit. And so they let her down. And we get a flashback, and the military guy who helped Cooper is giving a speech. And he's basically, he's getting all personal about everything that happened with him. And then the speech is about the speech is basically about it's okay to do something bad if it protects the people you love and the greater good. That's essentially what his speech is about. And he ended up telling the speech about like he had to save these people, but he had to kill 10 people to save the people that he was getting to. And so we cut back to the present. The Ghoul gets Lucy down. Lucy thanks him.
Sorry,
like,
I just want to add one thing. Like, yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting commentary here about like imperialism and the military and how, yeah, like in the VFW, they're glorifying that he brought boys home, but they're skipping over the foreign lives they had to kill to do that. And I think there's a conversation, it's like, so it is a conversation about the greater good, but the deeper conversation is that like warfare is kind of crazy, that we're trading lives for another just to make sure they're balanced at the end of the day means our country comes out on top. And there's, I think that speech would have been is a decent clip to go back and listen to, because he really is getting into like the like politics of war and the fact that like we glorify, you know, some killings and not others. And also while you were doing that, I realized something so stupid. I accidentally created a Twitter for the show that's not a Twitter for the show, and I'm just so irritated right now that we have like a page where I've tweeted like 3 times from this computer thinking it was we was watching and it wasn't. So I'm gonna fix that later. But yeah, so I thought that the Charlie scene, him with his friend, and remembering that Cooper is a vet, that he fought in that war. It does make more sense to me personally that Cooper would then be a person who could deliver that final that blow to what's the name, the rich guy, because just asking a civilian to do that is different than someone who's seen warfare. Like, not to say you know, I guess it's just different because like he's taken orders before, he's had to like put stuff aside for his country, so he actually is probably the right person to have that propaganda for.
We see that he gave him a lighter, and the ghoul still got that lighter. And he looks at over some dynamite, and he wasn't really about to help them take down the NCR. So he's not the horrible person. He's not as horrible as we think he is. And that
would have been so fucked up.
Yeah,
because it's like 2 people fighting for their lives, you know.
He sets off a chain of explosives, which makes the one group think the other group is attacking, and then it basically starts a civil war between them.
Yep.
And so then we cut back to Max and Xander, and they're at the bottle company where we saw Thaddeus earlier, and them kids come out.
Okay, because they were flying. So they were flying, and so Thaddeus doesn't really know how to fly, but the Camille, his character, does, and like that's when he's talking, trying to convince him. And what happens is he sees like on his radar that like for some reason there's some automated activity, and it's interesting because you know Thaddeus is like, why would we care? Like, this is a random part of the wilderness, the wildland. Like, why would we go out our way? And you could tell that he's like, Brandon says, the same character over and over. You can tell he's like gun happy because he's like, why not? Let's just go kick some ass. So he goes down, and he's originally, I think he's being brought in by the thing he picks up on, I think, is Victor. So Victor is the technology that he sees, and then he goes after Victor.
And he separates the smooth skin from the ghouls like Chanel would do.
Yeah.
And then
that's not funny. He literally is about to kill all the ghoul children, and he literally is like, y'all go to the side and I'm gonna deal with these other ones. And it was so upsetting.
And Maximus was like, they kids. And he was like, have you read the rule book, bro? They nose is fucked up. We got to kill the fucked up noses. What are you talking about? Wait, read the rules, dummy. Get out of here. And then Thaddeus gets in and begs him not to do it. He's like, yeah, all right, that's nice. And then right when he was about to kill him.
But again, he is super duper gun heavy. So it's not to say that like those aren't the rules, but also he's like going well out of his way, like with like nobody's gonna get on him if he doesn't do this, but he does.
Yeah, it's like,
and also our guy jumps in front. Thaddeus jumps in front of the kids to try to save them. You might have already said that. Yeah.
And then Max came out of nowhere and smashes his head with the hammer. I think he's dead. We'll find out next episode, but I think he's dead.
It seems dead. He kind of falls out. Yeah, I think so first of all, this is a big deal because we have Thaddeus doing something that is, as he says, like kind of not a part of the rules, but then it is also kind of crazy to just sit there and watch somebody like kill them damn kids just because they are. So we see that like Thaddeus still has like some sense and some humanity in him. That's one thing. And then the dialogue from here actually killed me because so he takes off he unsheaths and he canopies, and what's his name is like Thaddeus. And he's like, yo, it's me. He goes, what's been up, man? He's like, just I guess I just started a civil war. He's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm managing this factory of children. I'm managing this sweatshop. So, I got stuff going on too. Like they have this very silly like catch up because if you guys remember, Thaddeus was this goes all the way back to season 2 where after Maximus had killed Michael Rappaport because he was an asshole, he pretended to be him, and then Thaddeus got dispatched to be his knight, and now he saved him. So the good news is they're all fair and square now.
But Maximus,
That's
he
what's
just started a
important.
war. And
Which he probably did because he just killed the attaché from the Commonwealth after they sent him for the reason of trying to stop them from starting a civil war. So yeah, he definitely nobody's gonna believe his story, and his story is not valid because he's gonna get in trouble no matter what for killing the guy, even if because what the guy was doing was actually technically legal. He was able to kill those kids if he wanted to, so he's not even justified in killing him. So yeah, he started some shit, but I think most of us would agree he did the moral thing, even if it was illegal.
that was the end of the episode. So Chanel and I are going to decide how we want to do Fallout for the rest of this season. We might keep doing it episode by episode. We're going to ask you all. We might do half a season, end the season. The problem is we can't do 3 shows. And there's about to be...
We refuse to do 3 shows.
There's about to be 3 shows. There's Fallout, there's Night of the Seven Kingdom, and there's Industry. And we're definitely doing Industry. So we're only going to do one of the other 2. So you guys let us know what you want to do. We are going to discuss what we want to do. So we may end up doing... Yeah, go ahead.
I was also going to say on all of our social media, I've actually posted a poll. So like wherever you follow us at, whether that's Blue Sky, Twitter, or whatever, we have a poll there. So tell us if you want us to do weekly, if you want us to skip to the end of the season, or if you want us to go like in batches. And just in case it helps, I definitely was going to watch Fallout on my own. So I was not definitely going to watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So do with that information what you will, because you will have to force it if you want us to watch that show and recap it here. So please speak now or forever hold your peace.
Look, you already listen.
Watch it.
Your judgment is not good on this. Just so we know, just so we can establish this, because if I gotta say it, I wanted to do it, and I got shot down. I'm not watching it. We don't got to do that. I ain't gonna watch that show. And then 6 weeks later, why you not watching it? You need to watch it. We should have done it. I don't know why we didn't do it.
You were right.
It is popping. We should have done it. All right. Okay. Now we got a Game of Thrones show. A Game of Thrones show. It's up to y'all. I'll keep doing Fallout. I'll watch Knights of the Seven Kingdom on my own. Let me tell you what I don't want to hear. 4 weeks in the Knights of the Seven Kingdom, and it's popping, and Chanel texts me talking about, man, we could have been on Game of Thrones. We could have, you know how many people would be listening to us talking about this? That I don't want to hear. So y'all let us know what we want to do. I don't really care either way, though, on the show, because we're definitely doing Industry, and that's what I'm most excited about. But we're going to do 2 shows weekly, and the other show we may recap like at the end of the season, whatever. So we'll do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let us know. We're in like this. I can't stress enough how we're in this 3-month period that is really critical. Like we're trying to get the shows, get the views. We've passed 400 subscribers, so shake a hand. Everybody get excited. Brandon, woo! Is there a drop for that?
I'll be excited when we get to 500.
Okay, well, I'm just we pump it out because we've been talking about 300 for a million years. But I say all that to say, guys, that we really got to pump this up, because wherever we are at when I start my new job is where we're gonna be there for a little bit while I acclimate. So let's push it. Let's get the show out there these first couple months so that I can not have to work anymore. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, is that you share the show so that we can retire. It's not a lot to ask. So share the show, give it to your friends, log into your other emails, be a subscriber, click like, send us a hype if you get it. This has been the We Was Watching podcast with your host, Brandon Chanel. We are a podcast for blurs and baddies in the new year, 2026. Now we've been podcasting for officially 4 calendar years?
Yes.
That's amazing. We're over 100 episodes on both podcasting and YouTube, which is a big deal because we started as just a podcast and then only started doing YouTube within the last couple of years. We're excited to have you guys here with us. We're working on things like the feedback we get around like timestamps and sound transitions. But just know that it's just us two, and what more do you want from us? So thank you so much for, if you want to interact with the show, you can email us, you can tweet us, at us on any of the social medias. It'll all be tagged below, but where we was watching anywhere on social media, and our email is wewaswatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Fallout, I really enjoy Fallout. It's just because it's a different world. I think there's a lot to be offered. It's a bit much sometimes, but there's a lot going on, and I am enjoying it. So I hope you guys are too. So please answer that poll so that we know if you guys want our undivided attention. And we are 2 weeks out from industry. This is our Super Bowl, guys. So get excited for that, if nothing else, because We Was Banking is officially coming back. Play the clap music, or play whatever music you got for that. Play the Undertaker intros music. Play Miss Hawkins. No, I don't really know if we have a drop for that. We should have like an epic drop though, right?
I don't have a good one for that.
I know we need one for like good news. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We're coming with them combos. When industry comes back, we're coming with them combos. I'm coming back with my CPA license. I'm gonna be a trader. I'm gonna be a day trader. We're going to New York. It's gonna be a lot going on. We have a lot of our favorite characters coming back. We're both very excited. So thank you guys for listening. Anything else, Brandon?
No, that's it.
Dang, I can't believe it's a new year, new show, new rules. Same old us. So we'll see you guys next time. And don't forget, if We Was Watching is watching it, you should be watching it with us too. We'll see you guys next week.